Okay guys, welcome to the Friday Waffle. This is getting recorded on Friday and it's about, I don't know what time it is, it's about, I don't know, 9:30, something like that. So yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing absolutely fine, all the more because I am off for 2 weeks, starting from today. Yeah, I had 25 holidays to take. That's what I've got in a year, and the only holidays I've actually taken so far were about 5 which I carried forward from last year. So my boss has been on at me, you need to take holidays. And I think, I don't know what it is, I think maybe because I'm living on my own now, I've not really had any real basis for taking holidays. I know that sounds quite kind of sad, but I've just kind of got into a work mode and really not thought about holidays at all. So he's been on it, he says, look, you can't carry them forward, you've got to use them by the end of December. So I thought, right, let's just take the last 2 weeks in August off. So that is me. I've not got any plans, you know what, I'm really just looking forward to just, not so much having long lives, but just kind of kicking back and just, I don't know, I'm planning to maybe try and do, I don't know, some DIY. I've got a couple of rooms I'd like to paint in my house. I want to start going to the gym more. I've been quite lazy the last, I don't know, maybe the last month or so, gym wise, even running wise. I've not been doing a great deal, and I want to change that. I've actually not been feeling that great. Last week when I did my Friday Waffle, I was absolutely exhausted, and that seemed to kind of continue into this week. You know, virtually every day I've just been waking up, and I've almost thought, I've never had a problem getting to sleep, but I was waking up in the morning and I felt like I'd only had maybe 2 hours sleep. You know, you get that kind of stinginess in your eyes, and I don't know, I just really almost felt run down. I don't know quite what the cause was. I do feel quite a bit better today. I did go to the gym, which is always good. When you go to the gym or do a run, whatever, if you do any form of exercise, you always feel a lot better. So I've had a nice healthy Subway salad. By the way, if you like salads and you've got a local Subway, go and try them out. They're fantastic. £3.99, and I always get a tuna mayo salad, but you get everything on it. Really nice. Thoroughly recommend it. So that has been that. I says my week at work has been pretty damn busy. That's probably an understatement. So even tonight, I didn't actually switch my laptop off until about 6:30 tonight. I'm meant to finish at 5, but because I'm on holiday for the next 2 weeks, I wanted to get stuff. I wanted to get stuff done. I'm not in the kind of job where I can just switch off and go stuff it. I'll do it when I come back. You know, when you're a manager, you've got certain responsibilities. So I did work on it about 6:30, and then I went down to the gym, came back, and then that was that. So here we are. So like I said, I've not got a great deal planned for the next couple of weeks. I'm just looking forward to just doing nothing, if that makes any sense. I would love to have gone on holiday, but right now I can't really afford it. This week, gaming wise, what have I been doing? I've been doing a couple of things actually. I was at the computer club on Tuesday. Always enjoy that. As I've said before, the thing I like about the computer club, it's I've got all these systems in my games room, but I don't really make a conscious effort to use them. You know, there's a lot of times where I don't use systems, but the one thing I really like about the computer club, it's the one day in the month where I completely forget everything else, and it just becomes, for 3-4 hours once a month, you're back in 1985 again. It's purely about playing video games, about playing old 8-bit systems, talking about games. You kind of feel like you're almost in a sort of I wouldn't say time travel, but you kind of feel like you're going back in time, because we're all sitting playing games, we're watching each other playing games, you're playing 2-player games. It's great fun, it really is. So I had that on Tuesday. Last night I was actually sitting playing my Atari 800, just kind of noodling through games, loading up. What was I playing? Played Fort Apocalypse, which is excellent. Fort Apocalypse is one of my favourite 8-bit games. What else was I playing? The Eidolon by LucasArts, played that for a wee bit as well. Just going through some, I mean, the Atari has so many games, it's just incredible. You know, if you ever want to get a system that's got a good back catalogue that you've probably never heard of, 99% of them, the Atari is the one. It's a fantastic machine. I mean, I've got an Atari 800 XL, I've got an Atari 130 XE, I think it's called. Both fantastic machines. So anyway, just kind of mentioning the 80s, I'm going to do a slightly different waffle this week. I'm not going to answer any questions now. You know, apologies to anyone that did ask me questions for this week. I will use them next week, if that makes any sense. Just talking about the whole 80s thing. I have just finished watching Stranger Things on Netflix. Now, I don't know if anyone else has seen the programme. To try and describe it, it's kind of like a cross between E.T., Close Encounters, and apparently the Goonies. Now, considering how much an 80s, I'm not going to say fanboy, considering how much I love the 80s because that was my time, I have never seen the Goonies. And I know a few people have mentioned it before, and a few people have said, drop what you're doing and go and watch it. I've never actually seen it, but apparently Stranger Things, it's a kind of mix between that, like I says, E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's a drama series set in America in 1985, and I'm guessing most of you have probably seen it anyway, but I'm not going to do any spoilers. But basically, it's a science fiction-y type programme, but the roots are firmly in the 80s, and the attention to detail that the guys that wrote this thing have gone to is just amazing. It's two guys called the Duffer Brothers. They are brothers, quite young guys actually. So they wrote this Netflix series. They wrote the thing. There's now 3 seasons. What they do is when they bring out a season, they release all the episodes in one go, so you can basically watch them all, you know, over one night if you wanted. There are 8 episodes per season, so right now you've got 24. If you've never seen it and you like 80s stuff, go and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. But it just kind of got me thinking about the 80s in general. So what I'm going to do, and I have kind of done this before, is I'm just going to talk about my memories of the 80s and what made the 80s special for me, because it was my time. It was the time I look back most fondly. I was born in 1967. I obviously grew up through the early, well, right through the 70s. You know, I had a really happy childhood. Then I started high school. When did I start high school? 1979. And then obviously, you know, we got into the 80s, the music changed. I mean, a lot of the 70s music, I wasn't a fan. When you're 10 years old, you're not really into music. I certainly wasn't anyway. But obviously, at the turn of the sort of decade, punk started to come through. It became really popular. And I started high school, and you know, as I was getting older, going through first, second year at school, I discovered girls. It took me years to get a girlfriend because I was always the wee guy at school. I was always the cute one. You know, every girl that I liked thought I was cute, and that was as far as it went. Because I had lovely curls, and the fact that I was about a foot smaller than every other guy my age didn't really help. But yeah, obviously, you know, chasing girls, music became a big thing. I was a massive ska fan. Loved Madness, Special, Selector, Bad Manners, all these sort of groups, The Beat. I also had a massive thing for Howard Jones, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Depeche Mode, blimey, Marillion. You know, they were kind of progressive rock, soft rock, I think you might call them. So yeah, I loved all that kind of music. I also loved Jean-Michel Jarre. All these, I mean, the whole sort of synth pop thing with Depeche Mode and the Human League, obviously Gary Newman, what else? Software Update, away you go, you can bugger off. Yeah, there was all these, I mean, synthesizers became a massive thing. and a lot of the music was obviously pure synth. I mean, I think it got to a point where there was nobody playing drums or anything, because everything was just made up on synthesizers. But you know, I loved all that sort of stuff. I mean, who else did I like? Lloyd Cole and the Commotions, blimey, the Revillos, the Cramps, God, what else? There was so much. Also loved Christy Burr. Now, you see, you mention Christy Burr to people and most people laugh in your face and they say, oh, The Lady in Red. Now, unfortunately, that is the only song that most people remember or know Christy Burr for. I palled about with a guy mid-80s, and he was into AC/DC and he was also into Christy Burr, and he let me listen to a Spanish Train album, and it was something I'd never ever heard of before. It just seemed so different from everything else that I had listened to, that I would listen to. You know, I loved all the, you know, the synth kind of music, all this artificial music. Christy Burr was very much, you know, traditional. He told stories. I mean, it's called A Spanish Train and Other Stories, I think it was called. So his songs told stories, and I just my mate used to play this all the time, and over a period of time I really got to enjoy it, and I thought, I like that, so I bought the album. And then over the next few years I bought more of his stuff, and to this day I still listen to a lot of Christy Burr. I've seen him in concert twice, and before anybody says, oh, you know, like I say, he's just an old age, he's an old man, you know, blah blah blah, whatever, he stood up on stage, I'm trying to think when it would be, probably 2005. I went to see him in concert. It was a birthday present for me from my wife. We went to see him, and there was only Christy Burr, a guitar and speakers. There was no band, there was absolutely no support at all. Now, I shit you not, he was on for 3 hours, just him and his guitar, and that was it. And he had the audience absolutely captivated. We were completely enthralled with what this guy could do. I've never seen a guy with so much talent. He was able just to entertain people. And you know what, he had a sort of a cordless microphone, whatever it was. He actually got off stage and he walked about the audience, and there was a guy in a wheelchair in front of me, and Christy Burr actually went up to him and he just gave the guy a big cuddle. And I mean, Christy Burr was literally, you know, 2 feet away from me, and that was a special moment, because Christy Burr's music is in my soul. It's part of what makes me me. If I'm feeling down, or if I'm feeling quite nostalgic or whatever, I'll put Christy Burr on, and it takes me back to a special place. So yeah, the music, I started to fall in love with music, and that was a big part of my 80s. I mean, if I hear any 80s track, regardless of whether I like it or not, you know, the Thompson Twins or the Pointer Sisters or Huey Lewis and the News, right away I can just go boom, I can remember the year, I can remember what I was doing at that point. Now, obviously a big part of the 80s for me was the discovery of computer games. The very first time I saw a video game, it was a Pong machine, and it was in Edinburgh Airport, and it was a fleeting, oh look, wonder what that is, and I looked at it, and then that was it. I then got a Pong machine. My granny gave me a Pong machine, which it was okay. It was fun for a while, but it became very limited and boring very quickly. So the Pong machine, I would not say that the Pong machine had any influence over me later to becoming a sort of video game fan. That happened when Space Invaders first came out. I can remember seeing in the paper an advert, and not an advert, a paper cutting. It was a report, and it was talking about this new phenomenon, Space Invaders. It was taking over the UK. You know, machines were appearing in pubs and sports centres and all that sort of thing. And my very first sighting of a Space Invaders machine, it was in the sports centre up at Craigswood in Livingston. I was going to karate lessons, and as I walked in and I turned to go to the changing rooms, I just saw this. It looked like a wardrobe, this large thing in the corner. But what was really significant was there was a group of people standing round it, and I'm like, what on earth's that? But then on the side was this really eye-catching artwork. I mean, I'm looking at, I've got my little piecade, my little arcade. I've actually got the Space Invaders artwork in that. And it was the iconic Space Invaders side art of the sort of the invaders. So seeing that, seeing the group of people, and I could also hear this real, quite foreboding noise coming from the machine. This real doop, 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 doop. And I'm like, what on earth's that? And when I went across to see it, I was completely mesmerised. You know, the images of this thing, these images on screen, that the person playing the machine was able to interact, he was able to destroy them. Now, I'd never seen anything like this before. You know, TV was just a viewing thing. You just watched it, you didn't actually interact. And here was this thing where the person was actually, you could actually shoot these baddies, you were actually influencing what happened on the screen. So that was when I first got to see a proper video game, and at that point I was hooked. Now I can't remember the exact timeline of everything, but I saw Space Invaders, then the Atari 2600 became a thing. It was getting advertised on TV, and it was priced at £99.99. Now my mum and dad, they were both hard working. My mum was a nurse, my dad was a plumber. They never had a lot of money. They had 3 kids. I mean, my 2 sisters, one sister, she had left, she had gone away to get married. But my parents, they were not the type of people that ever took credit. I mean, credit now, we take credit for granted. You've got credit cards, you've got store cards. Now, or back then, my mum and dad would not entertain a credit card. It was anything they bought, they had to have the money. They would save up for it. You know, supposing it took 10 years to save up for a new car, that's what they would do. They wouldn't borrow money. So there wasn't a lot of free money to go about, and you know, I said to my mum and dad, can I get an Atari for my Christmas? No. And that was it. We can't afford it. And I knew then there was no point in going on about it because I was never going to get one. So the Atari, I used to see adverts for the Atari. And then my mate, I've mentioned this before, my mate Nick came up to the house one day and he had the Atari 2600. And we set it up. It was Pac-Man and Combat. And that was a game changer for me. Here was a system in the house that you could play at home, and it was just exactly like the thing that I'd seen at Craigswood Sports Centre. And it's so difficult to try and convey the excitement, how it felt inside my tummy, how I actually felt, how it made me feel seeing this. I was like, wow, this is just the most incredible thing ever. And I knew I wasn't going to own it. I mean, I didn't, when you're 10 years old, you're years away from earning. I just accepted that I wasn't going to own it, and that was that. I mean, it was 30 years on that I eventually got an Atari. So I saw that, but my entry into video games was like a lot of people's. It was the grandstand LED games, your Astro Wars, Firefox. Was there one called Battlestar Galactica? I never ever did get that. There was sort of Pac-Man or Puck-Man, I think they called it. There was various little handhelds. In fact, there we go, I've actually got it right there. This was the very first one that I ever owned. There we go. Invaders, what's it called again? Missile Invader. Now, I don't even know if I've got batteries in it. I don't know if it's the batteries are on their way out. I've got no idea. I think the batteries might be on their way out. Either that or it just doesn't work. I think it's probably the batteries. Oh, there we go. It was basic to say the least. Where's the fire button? Oh, the fire button's there. There we go. Yeah, that was what I had. That was me scratching my Space Invaders itch. As you can see, it is extremely limited, but you know what? It was the next best thing. It wasn't the same as having an Atari 2600, but it was what I had. So I got a few of these. I mean, I had that one. I got Astro Wars. I did maybe have 3 or 4. A lot of them were kind of cheapo ones, like they were sort of almost like rip-offs. But that's what I had. Then when I eventually got a part-time job, I got myself a Commodore 64, and you know, that was it. That just opened my eyes to the whole thing. I had well, in fact, I started off with the Texas TI 994A, then I got the Commodore 64, then I got the Atari ST, then I got the Commodore Amiga, then I got the PC, then I got a SNES, then I got a, no, I didn't get a Mega Drive, I got a SNES for a wee while, then I got a Game Boy, then I got a SNES, then it was back to the PC, and that was kind of what I had up until about 1995, and then I got, what did I get? I got the PlayStation, and at that point you only had one system. I mean, I'll tell a lie, I had the PC, because the PC was kind of, the PC was sort of like a fridge. It was something that the house had. Everybody's got a PC, you know. My ex, she used it, you know, everybody used the PC, so I did have a PC and I did get the SNES at the same time. Yes, I had the two things, but I never had an Amiga and a PC. I had to sell one to get the other one. So eventually I said I had the PC for, well, right through. I've still got a PC obviously, which I use on a daily basis. But I got the PlayStation, then I sold that, and did I get the, I'm trying to remember, I got the PlayStation 2 for a wee while. Then I very briefly had the GameCube. Don't remember what happened to that. I must have sold it. I had the GameCube for a very short space of time. Then I got the Xbox. Then something happened. I used to be on this video games forum, and a guy, I can't remember his name, Zero One I think it was, he contacted, he put a post on the forum and said, listen guys, he says, I have got a humongous collection of systems that I want to get rid of. Now here's the thing, I don't want to sell them, I want to give them away. I want to give them away to people that are going to love them and appreciate them and make use of them. So I put my hand up, and what did I get? I mean, as you can imagine, there was a lot of interest in this guy. I mean, you know, I can't remember his name, it was a long time ago. What a generous thing to do. I got a BBC Master, which unfortunately stopped working. I got a VIC-20, which I no longer have. I don't know what happened to that. In fact, I can't even remember what happened to it. It might still be in the loft, but I don't think it works. And I also got another machine, which for the life of me completely escapes me. I can't remember what it was. But here's the thing, getting these 3 computers made me realise, hang on a second, could I buy a Commodore 64? I mean, I'd been running emulators for pretty much since 1997. Emulation was what allowed me to play all these old games, because when I first got the internet, in fact, it was before that, it was before I got the internet, when I still had my Commodore Amiga, I saw an advert in, I don't know what it was, Amiga format, something like that, and it was basically saying, run Spectrum games in your Amiga. So I sent off the £4.99, I got like 3 floppy disks, and on each disc was, I don't know how many, 50 Spectrum games, can't remember exactly how many it was, it might have been more than that, and it had this emulator, and basically it allowed you to play Spectrum games on your Amiga. Now they didn't run particularly well, I think they probably ran at about maybe 70% speed, maybe less than that, but that just opened my eyes again to, wow, I can now play these old systems. You know, I wonder if it's a Commodore 64, because when I had sold my Commodore 64 to get an Atari ST, that was it. The C64 was gone. I'd never seen one since then. And the thought and the excitement that I could possibly get to enjoy the games that I played on my C64 was just magical. So anyway, over the sort of the next maybe 5-6 years, the internet came along, you know, MAME came along, and I'm not going to, that's for another day, but I managed to acquire a real sizable collection of game ROMs, game systems, the Spectrum, the Amiga, the Atari ST, all these different systems, all the systems that I owned, and also for systems that I never owned, like the NES, the Mega Drive, all these ones. But going back again, when I got a hold of the BBC Master, the VIC-20, it just made me, it opened my eyes as to, wait a minute, I wonder if it's possible to get a Commodore 64. So I went on eBay, and there it is, there's all these C64s, all Spectrum, and that's what kick-started the whole, I'm not going to say collecting, because I don't collect, I always think of the word collection. You get collectors who purely, it's all about the owning of the thing, it's not about the using. I am not a collector. Yeah, I do have quite a large collection of stuff, but I buy stuff to play. So I'm not a collector. I do not deem myself as a collector. I don't have, I mean, I've got all these games behind me obviously, but I don't own, most of my games are on SD cards. I'm only interested in being able to play the games. I'm really not interested in owning a game because it's got a nice box or whatever. But getting these 3 original pieces of hardware, you know, the BBC Master System, the VIC-20, what was, I can't remember for the life of me what the last one was. It wasn't an Amstrad. I can't remember, I really can't remember what it was. But yeah, so then over the last, I'm trying to think when that would be, probably maybe 2005, 2006, something like that. Over the last 13 years, I have steadily built up quite an impressive collection of real hardware, to the point that I've got all the systems. I mean, I'm sitting looking there, I've got I've got my Atari ST there, I've got my PC Engine Duo, I've got my Sega Master System, I've got a GameCube, I've got my Switch, my Wii, my PlayStation 2, PlayStation 4. I've got them all, you know, I really have. There's not an awful lot I want. So yeah, but getting back to the whole 80s thing, I mean, the 80s for me, it was a time of change. I mean, I'd obviously matured from a wee boy into a man. You know, when I got to my 18th birthday, I started drinking, used to go to the pub, even the music, there was just something really nice. It was a time where I was working, I mean, I started working full time in 1985. I did have a part-time job for about 3 years. I'm just looking at the time there. I did have a part-time job for about 3 years after school, and then I started working full time. And getting to go to pubs, you know, getting to look at girls, you know, it was an amazing time. I remember when I was working, I started a full-time job, and I met a guy who worked in the accounts, and I can't remember, in fact he came in, he was working in accounts, and he came in to work in the wages department with me for a wee while, and we got talking and we realised that we're both into computers. I had a Commodore 64, he had a Acorn Electron, and that started a friendship which to this day is now a thing. I see my mate Ian a couple of times a week, so we have been mates since 1985, so I don't know how long that is, 30 odd years, whatever, 33 years, something like that. I've made a lot of good friends, but I mean the 80s was a time when so many exciting things happened. Apart from the music, which I've kind of touched on, video recorders. Now, you know, even that word, video recorder, anybody under the age of probably 30 has probably got no idea what I'm talking about. Before the video recorder came along, we had, what, 5 channels, 4 channels. You had BBC One, BBC Two, and you had ITV, or STV, Scottish Television as it was called in Scotland. Then a bit later we got Channel 4. So that was our source of TV programmes. There was nothing, the internet wasn't a thing, Netflix wasn't a thing. So you watched what was on TV and that was it. If you weren't there to watch it, you missed out. Then, I'm trying to think when it would happen, probably late 70s, maybe early 80s, I can't remember exactly, my memory's not that good. Video recorders came along and my mum and dad hired one from, I think it was a company called British Relay, and I always remember the day we got it. I can remember specifically it was the Grand National was on, and collectively as a family we sat around the TV and we recorded the Grand National, and then we proceeded to re-watch it in reverse, and then we would fast forward it and we would watch it. It wasn't really slow motion, it was kind of like pausing. It was like pausing, unpausing. It kind of moved in like frames per second, so it was pretty crap. But we were just gobsmacked because this was something completely new. It was something we'd never seen before. You almost felt like you were a TV studio. We now had the ability to record the television, and that was just mind-blowing. So yeah, the video recorders, and then, you know, in the sort of late 70s, well probably early 80s, video shops opened up. Again, before video shops came along, films, there was only 2 ways to watch a film. One was to go to the cinema to see it, or secondly, you had to wait on the film getting shown on terrestrial TV. Now back then, a film would have to have been out for about maybe 6 years before it got shown. I mean, for example, Jaws, I can't remember when that came out, 1975, something says to me it's 1975. It was probably about 6 or 7 years before that film was shown on TV. So we had to wait 6-7 years to get to see the film that was on TV. It sounds crazy now. For kids now that have got on demand, they'd be like, really? But that's how it was. And a lot of the time, the film would be shown on the TV at Christmas time. Before Christmas, in the run up to Christmas, you would get the TV Times, which was, the TV Times was ITV, I think, and Channel 4, and the Radio Times was BBC. I think I've got that right. And basically you would get this, it would basically show you what was on TV for the next like 2 weeks. And that was part of Christmas. In the run up to Christmas, my mum and dad would buy the TV Times and Radio Times, and you would literally, you'd sit and scrutinise it. You would go through it and you would look at it and go, right, Christmas Eve, the Muppet Christmas movie's on, right, we'll need to watch that. You'd circle it. There was no such thing as highlighters back then. You'd circle it. Right, we want to watch Oliver Twist. We'll watch Oliver on Christmas morning. We'll circle that. Oh, Star Wars is on STV at 7 o'clock. We'll watch that. And then on I don't know, Back to the Future's on later on. So that was pretty much what we did. You had to decide that this is what we're going to watch. And you know, these were the Bible. These were showing you what was going to be coming on, and it was just, you know. And you probably, anybody again that's under a certain age is probably watching this video thinking, that sounds terrible. That sounds, what a shame. You know, we've got all this choice, and yet back then they didn't. But you know what? There is something missing about that now that we had back then. Less was definitely more. The thing that I think is sad about today's society is my daughter she's very, very rarely without her headphones on her head. I don't know what music she listens to. She listens to her own music. We all live in our own little bubbles now, you know. She'll be upstairs watching something on YouTube. I'll be downstairs watching something on Netflix. You know, the average family, they might have 2 kids. They could all be watching something different. You go to work and somebody will say to you, oh, do you watch whatever it is, some box set, and I'm like, no. The problem is we have so much stuff, so much choice, that there's very little overlap. You know, you can't really talk about to your mate, oh, did you see Doctor Who last night? Oh yeah, I saw that, what do you think of that? Yeah, you were able to talk about it, because there's so much choice now. We all have very little in common, unless of course you're watching something like Game of Thrones, then you can talk about it. But there's so much choice now that you could have 5 people in a house and they're all watching completely different things. But back in the 80s, we all would sit around the TV, and it does sound a bit rose-coloured spectacles, but that was how it worked. You had one TV in the living room, you all sat and watched it. I mean, I have got so many fond TV memories for me, watching the Christmas movie with Mum and Dad, watching the Generation Game on a Saturday, watching the wrestling with my dad on Saturday morning. I loved watching the darts, Jockey Wilson, Eric Bristow, loved watching snooker. I've got no time for snooker now, but see, back in the 80s with my dad, we would sit up and we would sit up to 1 o'clock in the morning watching the snooker final. I mean, the classic final with Dennis Taylor and Steve Davis. My dad and I sat up and watched that. Another thing that gives me so many happy memories was watching the athletics. You know, the 1500 metres, Steve Cram, Steve Ovett, Sebastian Coe, all these guys, Daley Thompson, the Olympics, the World Cup, watching the TV together as a family. It was such an important thing. It helped us bond as individuals, you know, and I know what music my mum and dad liked. My daughter really wouldn't have a clue what kind of stuff I like. So that's why I can listen to John Denver, I can listen to the Mamas and the Papas, I can listen to Dean Martin, Fats Domino, stuff for the 50s. I like a lot of that. And it's not because I really, you know, oh, I love that music. It's because it was what I listened to as a kid. And it just gives me so many happy memories. You know, when I play music now from the 70s, whatever, it just makes me happy. It brings mum and dad back to life, and I'm able to, you know, experience the joy that I felt and the happiness that I had as a kid back then. The 80s, the films, I mean, if I'm honest, I get there's very few films that I can watch at the cinema and go, that was an amazing film. Yet something like Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocketman, the Elton John thing, there's a few films that come along, Laurel and Hardy, but there's a bit of a pattern forming there. The films that I like are all based on things from years ago. You know, Queen, Laurel and Hardy. People going about how wonderful the Avenger films are, oh this is great, and look at the special effects. I walk out of cinema now and I don't even remark on the special effects, because it's not special effects. In fact, my mate Dave made a comment on Facebook tonight, and it was a picture of the characters from the Phantom Menace, I think it was one of the newer Star Wars films, and the 4 of them were standing behind a green screen, and Dave made the comment basically saying how he felt sad that was what films had become. Back in the 70s, back in the 80s, everything was actual proper models, it was proper special effects. I mean, Star Wars was made with little miniature, it was, you know, I think it was probably made little cardboard cutouts and painted white, and the effects were amazing. Even though it was very simple, you came out the cinema thinking, wow, that was amazing. You don't get that now. So some of my most favouriteest films are from the 80s. Animal House, absolute classic comedy. Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, Back to the Future. I can still remember going to see Gremlins. It was my first date. I was going out with a girl. I'd only been going out, well, she was 15, I was 17, and yeah, we went to see Gremlins. Then I went to the pictures, I had another date, and we went to see Back to the Future. And I remember at the time thinking how much I loved my life. Everything was new. You had computer games, you had girlfriends, you had alcohol. things were simpler back then. There was no such thing as mobile phones. Yeah, probably, I was probably a bit naive as a teenager. I didn't really have any, I mean, there was a lot of bad things happened in the 80s. I mean, there was the nuclear war thing. The nuclear war was a real threat back in the 80s. And I do remember being genuinely terrified that it could be a reality. Then you had things like Chernobyl, you had Lockerbie. There was lots of bad things happening in the 80s, but when you're a kid, I mean, I wasn't a kid, when you're 18 years old, I lived with my mum and dad. I didn't have, I mean, my salary back then was pretty crap, but you know what, I didn't need much money. My mum and dad, yeah, they took money off me for digs. I had no responsibilities other than, could I afford to get Zap magazine? Could I afford to buy the next game? Did I have enough money to go out to the pub on a Friday night with my pals? That was all that mattered. So yeah, going to the pictures, it was an amazing experience. You know, everything was new. There were so many really good films. The excitement you got, looking at the magazine, you'd look at Zap, you would go, oh look, Exploding Fist, I need to buy that. Saving up the money, getting the money, going up to the computer shop, buying the game you wanted, or if you didn't know what you want, you would stand and you'd just look at, you'd be picking up all these cassette games, you'd look at the cover, you would turn it around, read what it was about, right, okay, I quite fancy that, then inevitably you would narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3 games, maybe 2, should I get that one, oh I don't know, will I get that one, and it was a debate, you had to decide what you wanted, and then when you did decide to buy it, you handed over your cash, you rushed home, you would sit and read the instructions. Now I know I don't do that at all now, but you would read through the instructions and you know, you'd load up the game, and sometimes yeah, the game would be shit, but you know what, you played it because you appreciated it, because we didn't have much, and that's a big thing now. We did not get a lot. You know, I'm not saying we went without, we did have, compared to, you know, our mum and dads, we did get a lot, but you know, we did not, the only time I got a toy was, you know, when it was birthday, Christmas, whatever, you would get the catalogue, your mum would get the catalogue, and you would look through it and think, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that, and you would say to your mum, oh, I'd like to get that, that and that, and inevitably, I would maybe get two of the 10 things that I wanted, but you know, we didn't have a lot, but that's what made things special. It really was, you know, like I say, it's Christmas time, you know, you looked forward to Christmas. It wasn't about how much stuff you could get. Nowadays, I don't know, I think kids don't have a childhood. They just go from being like toddlers to young adults, and they want money, and it's all about clothes and that kind of stuff. But we were just kids, I don't know, you know, we climbed trees, we played football, jumpers for goalposts. I don't know, everything was just so much simpler back then. But like I said, the excitement to get in video games, it was, the 80s was like I say, as an adult probably, there was a lot of money. I mean, I think the 70s was even worse, you know, there was the depression, and not the depression, the miners' strike, that was the early 80s, so there was a lot of bad things going on in the world, but as an 18-year-old, I was pretty much, I didn't pay too much attention to it. But yeah, the music, the games, the buying the games, when a new system was released, the excitement, you know, oh, am I going to buy that, will I get this one, will I get that one? There was just so many epic things, there were so many classic films, and when I watch things like Stranger Things, it just makes me so not proud, I'm so grateful to have lived through the 80s. Because for me, it was an awesome time. Everything was changing. Yeah, the 90s brought about a complete different change, you know. You know, the internet and that kind of stuff. But for me, the 80s was where it was all about. The music, the memories, going up to the computer club. It was, you know, your life was quite simple back then. Your pal came down, you'd sit and play Elite together, you'd play football or whatever. There were so many things going on. You went to the computer club, you went to the pub on the Saturday or the Sunday, whatever it was. You looked at computer magazines, and you'd, like I said, you'd see the latest system and think, oh, I would love to get an Atari ST, whatever. It was wonderful, it really was. Now listen, I could literally talk for hours and hours and hours about the 80s. I mean, I think it's something I may do further down the future. I might see my mate Lon Boys post and we can do an 80s special. But anyway, listen, I think I've kind of reminisced quite enough. We're up to 45 minutes, so I'm going to call it a day now, guys. I hope you don't mind me not answering the questions. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little taster of why I love the 80s. So anyway, guys, listen, I just want to say thanks very much to everybody who continues to support my channel. You all know who you are. The subscriber numbers is rising again, which is wonderful. If you're new to the channel and you've subscribed, thank you very, very much. Hopefully you're going to see enough stuff on this channel to keep you coming back for more. I have got a special video coming out next week, but I'm probably going to put it out on Sunday, and it is where I talk to Sean Sutherland and Andrew Morris. If you don't know who these guys are, they basically, the two of them programmed the Lotus Turbo Challenge trilogy by Gremlin Graphics on the Amiga. They did Kickstart, they did Trailblazer, they did lots of games. Andrew Morris was the graphic designer, Sean Sutherland was the programmer, so that will be coming out on Sunday, so that's one to look forward to. But anyway, I just want to say, finally guys, thank you very much for watching.